Thank you. Okay, so basically the main point of doing these panels is that, so I run a community and we've got founders in there who are the experts, market leaders, thought leaders, and all that. But we also all follow, learn from others, and we're connected to others and wanted to get them on the panel as well and basically bring these different people together to share their thoughts and opinions and hopefully disagree with each other. I don't want a panel of people, don't smile at me because I know you're going to argue with everyone. I don't want a panel of yes people. If they do agree with each other, perfect, but if they don't, also perfect. It means you get different points of view from all the different panelists. First thing as well, for you coming to the panel, you actually get a free day pass to use the co-working at Bonded. So if you've been today, I can actually give you a day pass to come and try it on another day and use the space completely free in all their facilities. They do that as a thank you for us hosting it. Also, a big thank you to Sean for shooting this. It was very last minute, the camera guy at the back. Much appreciated. Thank you. Little clap for Sean. Thanks. So I picked the panelists that we've got because the topic, literally how to market yourself uniquely in 2025, I know we're a quarter in, but so many of us, particularly if you run your own business, have probably attempted your marketing, done shit at it, not done what you said you was going to do or whatever else. So I thought I'd get 4 people from 4 different areas of marketing, 4 different areas of expertise, 4 different portfolios of different types of clients, and bring them together to share their views, what they've achieved in their businesses, and what they've done for their clients at the same time. So, Phil, you've got the microphone first. I'm going to have to go to you first, mate. You're not going to be able to avoid that one, I'm afraid. So first one is real simple. We'll just go down the line, basically just who you are and what you do.
So I'm Phil. I run a personal branding agency called Osai, which is my last name, so can't get more personal than that. And essentially, we work with mostly public figures now. Oh, I just knocked that over.
It's always one.
Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I work with mostly public figures and celebrities to build their personal brands now. It's kind of started in like the tech and marketing space, but we've just kind of progressed since then. So I'm trying to think numbers. Quite a lot of followers that I manage, quite a lot of revenue we've brought in. Just pretend you've been impressed by that. But yeah, I'm excited to just talk to you all about what's been working for the really big accounts and see what we can do to trickle that down.
Yeah. Sweet, thank you. Fiona?
I'm Fiona Bradley. I run FB Comms, social media content and paid media agency. It's been 5 years now. I work with loads of jewellery, wellness. Yesterday I got cream thrown straight in my face for a TikTok ad. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be on LinkedIn at some point.
Hey, my name's Steve White. I run an agency called Space Digital. So we're a B2B web agency, mainly working with marketing teams within B2B companies to optimize and improve their website. And in terms of the industries, a lot of sort of software, IT, SaaS companies, as well as some recruitment and construction as well, but all B2B based. So,
I'm Johnny. I run the Story Club. It's basically a video content agency. I like to say it's human-led storytelling, helping founders and people within their business get on camera. And that could be video podcasts, it could be LinkedIn ads, anything that gets people to introduce the company from that human level. So yeah, that pretty much covers it.
Perfect. So first question, Johnny, we're going to start with you naturally because we're just going to kind of go down, or I'm going to bully you one by one, is in your field or your sector of what you all do, what does it truly take to stand out and be remembered?
So like I said, it's video content, which obviously is one of the most competitive areas right now. And it's interesting when the title was How to Market Yourself Uniquely. There's so many different things you can do in video, right? You can do things that don't feel right to you. You can do things that are over the top. You can do things that are very creative. But I think the most obvious and the thing that's easiest to stick consistent with is, I know we're getting like cheesy and it's things you'll have heard before and it's things you'll know deep down, but it's, you just got to stay true to you, your knowledge, your experience, what you're actually willing to do, what you're comfortable with. If you are an exciting, engaging person, ironically, you're more likely to hide that side of yourself than people who are faking it. So really thinking about your knowledge, your experience, and just interesting ways you can represent that. And I'm sure we're going to get into it deeper. One of those is very much storytelling.
And you do that through the thing you was doing a while ago where you was getting like kidnapped to yourself. Or what was that campaign you did recently?
So that was kind of an experiment, and that was a test to see how those over-the-top creative videos can work, because we've all seen them where like hundreds of thousands of people try them, but they don't always necessarily work. But then you get, survivor bias. Someone tells you about a super crazy campaign they did, and then it's like, you should do this. This is how you get this. then you try it and you get no results. So mine was, and it was actually thanks to Lewis Kemp who helped me come up with the idea. It was, instead of Moses' 10 Commandments, it was Rose's, my surname, 10 Commandments of video. and it was looking at all the pain points of why people don't get on video. So whether they hate the sound of their own voice, whether they're worried no one will watch it, whether they're not sure to talk about. And the intro video was an angel coming down to me. I was the angel, and also the guy gets woken up, being like, you know, booming voice, you need to start helping people get on camera. I've still got the accent in me. And basically it was to see, how does that sort of creative campaign on LinkedIn work on LinkedIn? And it was fine. And it was unique. And it was to start a community, which I kind of like faulted the slides because I realized it wasn't actually relevant for what I was doing. But it was just a really interesting experiment to see how does that click and connect with my customer. And for the kind of customer I want to get now, it probably wasn't relevant, but I did get 36 people who were interested in learning about getting on video. But I've had to kind of develop my message rather than take people from 0 to 5 and try and take people at 3 to 8. But it did stand out, it did get attention, and I, as you can tell, I like a yap. So I quite like doing stupid creative things. And in social media, people have short memories, so no one really remembers it except Callum, who did his research for this talk.
I remember everything, I'm a weird stalker. So what does it truly take to stand out and be remembered in your field, your sector?
Yeah, good question. I think for that, essentially, so we tend to work with companies and brands, a bit more established, a bit more larger. They've been around for a while, maybe kind of like legacy company where they are just blending in. They haven't got any of that like uniqueness about them as such. So from that point of view, how we'll help them stand out is kind of take a step back. It always starts with that initial research and that workshop to kind of uncover what is unique about them. So with that, it could be the brand, it could be the product, it could be the way that they work, it could be, you know, a certain thing with their processes or a way that they kind of come at it. So we kind of go in and through certain workshops, speaking to, say, the product team, the sales team, customer service, the founders, why they started it, the MD, who's kind of what directions it going in, kind of taking all of this into account to then think, well, mapping this against the competitors, what is the kind of saturated messages, what are the repeated messages that everyone's kind of saying about the product or the service, and what is just being said over and over again, and then how can we kind of position the company that is different to that. So essentially, yeah, it's that research stage, kind of uncovering, seeing what the lay of the land is, and then how can we help them stand out compared to that competitive landscape, essentially. So
it's amazing as well, isn't it? Because I know some of the brands you've worked with and the size of the businesses you've worked with, that they still come to agencies like yourself instead of having it in-house. Because it's about being remembered. It's why they come to the experts, like all of you, more than anything.
I think, not even the expert, I think a lot of the time it is, well, I suppose, I'm not going to put myself down, I will say partly the expert, but like it's always, they always say fresh pair of eyes, we're too close to it. It's always the same probably with all of our stuff. You're kind of doing it day in, day out, you're kind of very in the weeds of a lot of stuff, and then when someone comes along and is like, oh, why have you not done that? And you're like, oh, that's a great idea, like you don't think of it. So I think a lot of the time they are paying someone with an outside perspective who can facilitate, run this workshop, pull these insights and ideas out of them, and what they think is like mundane and what Jim has done for 20 years in the factory, it's like actually really interesting and like unique. So yeah, that fresh pair of eyes is kind of like a lot of the time what we'll kind of get brought in as well. So
Sweet. Fiona?
I mean, to stand out on social media, you want to get unhinged. You want to be weird as fuck, really. People are scrolling and there's so much content. Oh, the day in the life that I am thrilled to announce. No, like you want something that is weird or distracting enough that someone stops what they're doing and goes, and then by the time that they're actually trying to figure out what's going on, they've already absorbed your message. Even if it's, even for more luxury brands, like in the first second, you can have like a quick transition, something unexpected, like a luxury champagne brand last week. We filmed it upside down, so it looks like all the drinks just like splashing straight into the glass, and someone's like, and then all the fruit throws at it. It's just something to catch people off guard, and especially in B2B, it's not hard to stand out because there's so much boring drivel on the internet. If you just even use a slightly funny anecdote, it stands out.
How many times do you eye roll a day at shit campaigns?
Next.
Go on then, Phil. What does it truly take to stand out and be remembered in personal branding?
Okay, so I'm going to kind of approach this from two different perspectives.
Okay.
So my day-to-day experience now is working with people that are, stood out, or they have, they've got their their community already. An example client is Jake Humphrey. If anyone's come across the High Performance podcast, they have a big following. Like a lot of people know them, and the guests that they get on there are, their household names. But he still has to try and stand out compared to, let's say, Stephen Bartlett and the Diary of a CEO. So what we did was have a few strategy sessions to try and understand what is unique to him that no one else can talk about. I like to say to people, what's common knowledge to you is a game changer to someone else. And that phrase is deep rooted in that idea that there's, experiences, knowledge, and opinions you have that no one else uniquely can talk about. And you have to lean into that, because everyone's got a podcast, everyone's got a personal brand, everyone's got Instagram, YouTube, and et cetera, website as well. So the way to stand out is to kind of focus. I just saw Ellis and I can't walk past. The way to stand out is to focus on that unique thing, and it requires a bit of, kind of like what you mentioned before. Sometimes you need fresh eyes and to kind of step away from the details and look at it from a different perspective. But you'll be surprised, even something as silly as get ready with me on the way to work can get you quite a lot of engagement, quite a lot of views, and that's a very rudimentary thing that we all do. So it's about just finding your I know it's a bit of a cop out to say your unique thing, but it's something that you do that no one else does.
So I love this because it's like the flip of actually what you were saying, Fiona, like the day in the life things, but I think it's completely who your people are targeting and what they're wanting to achieve, because some people I love day in the life content because I'm a nosy bastard. So I love it because I'm nosy as fuck. So it's, but other people I completely agree with, like what you were saying, Fiona. Other people are like, ugh, because it don't attract like them different people. So it completely, massively depends on it. Sweet. So we're going to go through like different categories. So the next one's like challenges and like lessons learned. So Phil, you've got the microphone. I'm going to try and not go backwards and forwards because it'll get annoying. But we'll see what happens. What's been the hardest part about marketing yourself as a founder, and how did you push through it?
Do you know what? It's me building my own personal brand. I think there's a phrase called the cobbler's shoes. And it's this idea that, it's very easy to do what you do for other people, but to do it for yourself can be a bit of a challenge. So I had to go through my own process of hiring myself as an agency. And literally now, like in my directory, like I'm a client of my own agency, and I've taken that step back and been like, okay, cool. Let me think of myself as someone else, and just gone through the process of that. It required a lot of help, required my team to help me with that. But that's probably my advice is, although your personal brand is about you, it's also about the value you provide to other people. And sometimes you can't see that. This isn't a therapy session. I'm not going to be like, you're valuable. But sometimes someone else can figure that out. But yeah, someone else can see that more than you sometimes. So I had to do that.
Would you recommend people treating things like that as their own clients? I do this. I have an agency and I've got the communities. I officially run 2 businesses. I treat the second business as a client of the first. And it absolutely revolutionized me running it, I've scaled it. I've done everything treating it as a client. It sounds like obviously you've done the same as well. Would you recommend it?
100%, 100%. Just treat yourself like a client. Like even go through and fill out your onboarding form or however it is. If you've got like a second in command, let them onboard you. Really take it serious, because you'll be surprised what will come out of it.
Fantastic. Fiona?
I built my entire business by accident from marketing myself online and putting myself out there, and I was getting a really, really high cadence of like LinkedIn posting. I was going to all these networking events. I was hosting networking events. I was doing public speaking. I was going abroad and doing events like every other week. And as well as then obviously that's bringing me more clients, more work that I'm hiring, and I'm trying to keep up this level, and just ended up absolutely exhausting myself. So I started dropping out of and being like, right, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing stupid dances on TikTok. I'm posting on LinkedIn. I'm going to all these events. I was like, what's actually valuable? And then actually put all my time into LinkedIn, where most of them were coming from, going to the actual industry specific events and the ones with the right kind of clients, and cut out all of the stuff that I was doing because I felt like I had to. It's like, I run a social media agency. I should be doing TikTok and Instagram lives every other day. I should have these big followings across those platforms. But the only people that slid into my DMs on those platforms were other social media marketers. Like, they're not going to pay my bills. They're not actually my target audience. They might buy a training program or something. But then I just started redirecting because I don't have that time to do everything. I just feel like I should. So it's putting your time where it is the most valuable.
Sorry, did you find the redirecting it? 'Cause I think that's where a lot of people really do struggle. In particular, as we know, LinkedIn algorithm, whatever you think about it, changes every damn day. It's annoying as shit. And they're quite epitome of comment, engage on other people's posts, your ideal people, because then you will come up on their feeds and things. Not just LinkedIn, but did you find the redirecting easy, hard? Was it a transition? Like, what was the redirecting part to get the right people?
It wasn't hard for me to stop doing TikTok videos because I didn't like for myself to like sit and record and do that like all the time when I spent all day every day doing that for like we were doing that for so many clients, and then to go do it for myself in my free time, it wasn't a hard give up, but it is now still trying to even convince my team they haven't posted on the company socials in a week because like we know it's not like the direct revenue driver, but we should, but I'll have a go at them about it tomorrow.
Shout at them tomorrow about. No, so it's like, yeah, genuine on a note with that. It's like Georgia Dixon, she did the same with TikTok. She was on the last panel doing the TikToks, and she realized she was getting people in HR watching her content. She ended up launching a community from that. So now TikTok now pushes anyone in HR to her community. That's one thing. And she did the exact same. LinkedIn is exactly where our ideal clients are. She made something of the other one, but otherwise I think she was going to drop it, and then she saw some legs in that bit. So yeah. Steve.
Yes, so it's the most challenging thing about marketing myself.
Yeah, what's been the hardest part about marketing yourself as a founder, and how did you push through it?
Yeah, I suppose from my side, so I didn't kind of, not popular on LinkedIn, not even really popular now on LinkedIn, but like the business kind of came name from when I was living in London, worked at a few kind of big agencies before kind of going freelance. And then that was where most of the initial clients kind of came from, referrals, stuff like that. And we kind of got to a point of where it was like me being that kind of the business / the brand, and kind of getting to a few people on the team, and then just hitting this plateau. Like we weren't getting above it. Like we were kind of just working with anyone. It'd be like dentists, e-commerce sites, like local SEO kind of stuff, websites, all of the, any e-commerce or B2B, anything we'd like kind of work with you if you had some money spare. So we, it got to a point, but then it was kind of like, this is when we kind of figured out the challenge or the issue was like, when I was trying to post on LinkedIn, I was like posting about e-commerce one day, posting about B2B one day, posting about this the other day, and it was kind of just all very all over the shop and everything like that. So a few years ago, we repositioned to just focus on B2B. To be honest, it only sort of like last year, after like 2 years, kind of like fully clicked. And then like, even now it was like, last year it was sort of like, we do like website optimization work for B2B companies, whereas now we're kind of like realizing like, well, where we excel is just working with marketing teams. You don't want to work with founders, like, because they're just a bit of a pain sometimes like to work with, whereas like working with marketing teams, we can kind of excel a bit more. So that's been the challenge, kind of like realizing like we'd hit the plateau and like we were just going to stay there, whereas now trying to like figure it out and kind of get past it. So yeah, that's been the last year really of like kind of figuring
Hopefully
it out.
not throwing you in the deep end saying this. Have you now started to see a difference in lead generation from LinkedIn to inbound through your own website? Because obviously if you do websites, like Phil was saying, like marketers struggle, in my opinion, a lot of times to market their own business because exactly that. So have you seen a difference of inbound leads from starting to do LinkedIn more against your own website or anything like that?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think we're at that same problem again now, whereas some of the leads, like, so for example, we rank first for like B2B web design agency, for example, like, but you get some leads through, but with that, it's like some local guy who's like B2B company who wants it, but then there's also like massive companies that have come to us, like subsidiary of TripAdvisor we've got working, who found us through that Google search. So, but the problem is it's like very potluck and like hit and miss. So I think now we're like, we want to work with just this very specific ICP, which is marketing teams within this size of company. Now I think that's the thing for this year really, is to kind of focus on that, and then now just really drive on LinkedIn, connecting with those people, putting out very specific content for them, and kind of changing what it was done in the past. So at the moment, that change hasn't been actioned as such. It's sort of only been this quarter where we've been like, actually, like our favorite clients are all marketing teams. So then now that's the thing for this quarter and the next quarter. It's like, how can we just get more of those clients, basically? So
sweet. Johnny?
Connecting with 20 people a day. Yeah. Sorry, could I get the question?
Of course you can.
Time?
What's been the hardest part about marketing yourself as a founder, and how did you push through it?
The hardest thing is standing out. It's like I said earlier, and everyone has kind of said, it's noisy. You've got to do different things to stand out, especially in social media. And if we're talking about LinkedIn, which I think is where a lot of people have built their brand and their identity. And again, I'm giving a very unsexy answer. It's time in the game. It's being on, it's being in the platforms, it's being consistent, it's being there. That's what I've done. It's just I've not got a 100% turn up success rate, but even weeks when I've taken off, I'll go back and being in it, giving your messaging, figuring out who you want to speak to, who you're trying to speak to, as well as having a good rant every now and again. I promise it's very cathartic. But just doing that and letting people know who you are is how you get by. And you will always hear the stories of the people who, again, I know I hit on it before, did a post, struck gold. They are 5% of people. 95% of people you know who've built up a following have been grafting and grinding for years, building trust, going to events, trying to speak, trying to get on podcasts, and figuring out who they are, getting comfortable with it, and just going from there. And you get there from time and patience.
So on a note with that, I know LinkedIn, I'm presuming most of us are on LinkedIn in the room, if anything, but obviously now they're pushing video more. I think they've just changed a feature where you can't scroll anymore, which is annoying as shit. But did you try the Instagram and TikTok approach and all like that, or why have you just done LinkedIn, or why mainly LinkedIn now, or like?
No, I've purely been on LinkedIn, and caveat, as much as I love videos should not be your only strategy on LinkedIn, or even in any marketing thing, right? Video should be part of your strategy, your funnel, solving problems. It shouldn't be the be all and end all. But no, I still feel like I've got a lot to do, learn, and grow myself within the business and my messaging. That LinkedIn is a lot more of a positive, it's very annoying at times, but it's a more positive place than if you start putting out videos on TikTok or Reels where you've got a bunch of nameless user XYZ and just start slating you. But once I've got more confidence in who I am and I feel like I've mastered the one platform, who knows where I'll go next?
Very true.
Probably
very true.
TikTok.
Okay, so next question is actually for Johnny and Fiona. So what's one marketing strategy you initially thought would work but completely flopped, and what did you learn from it? Either that be for yourself, for a client, if you're able to divulge it. Yeah.
A marketing strategy
Completely, you thought would work but ended up completely flopping.
It's irony. Just being consistent with video.
Mm-hmm.
Plot twist, right? Basically, I thought there's a caveat to everything, right? I hate generalizations. If you're doing videos and you're being seen and you're getting in front of people every day and maybe 600 people are watching it and maybe there's a 60% success rate, you get in your head that could just, you're like, oh, people are seeing me, my messaging is getting out there. And the reason I kind of gave the explanation about video shouldn't be the be all and end all is because I made it my full thing. Video is part of a strategy. You need to have a good landing page, whether that's your LinkedIn page. Maybe you need a good newsletter. You need other ways to build trust and start getting people through. So what marketing strategy did I use? Relying on one tactic and one platform. And like I said, I know I need to master LinkedIn before I move to a different social media platform, but I need better landing pages. I need better touch points for people to trust me, learn about me, do more.
Sweet. Fiona?
I mean, me dancing on TikTok bombed. Can't fucking do it.
You try though, that's what matters.
I really
you try.
gave it a go. And also, when you're creating more social content, the obvious thing to do is go back and look at what worked, what got the most likes and engagement and what have you. So then we start wanting to automatically recreate those topics, those post types, and looking at other people and doing those kinds of, oh, this brand's done this format, let's give it a go. But then, yeah, it can get loads and loads of likes and loads of views in a certain sector, but has it actually made you any money? Is it actually got your people clicking on the website rather than it's just done really well over here? So I think even with some of my own content, it's like the easy thing to just go through and be like, I know what's going to get some likes. I'll talk about burnout today. And rather than actually, that's not what I want to be known for. And those aren't the associations I want to make. And that's not actually what's going to get me or my clients any kind of worthwhile engagement.
And that's a bit in it. It's like, you can choose it for what you want, but actually, what do you need? Steve, over to you. So, what's the biggest mistake founders make when trying to market themselves and their business?
Good question. Biggest mistake they try to make when they market themselves or their business?
By the way, they did get sent these questions before this.
Yeah, but then I was just trying not to make it sound exactly the same as the... I think, yeah, I'm just trying not to like go over stuff that people have kind of said before, but I think like the main thing is, and it kind of goes against what you said a little bit, but like no, it wasn't. It was Phil. It wasn't. You got his back. Wow, you got his back. All right, so I will not be saying that. But like, I think like sometimes it's, well, no, actually, no, I suppose it goes with it in a way. Like it's taking that time to like treat yourself as a client. I think the bigger mistake is that it's difficult because it's like you can't just be like because for example, if we try to treat ourselves like we're not like a multi-billion pound company that's been around for years, so we can't treat ourselves fully like we would treat a client, because we can't like rely on like some of that kind of how we'd approach it with that, but we would have to approach it in like we can approach it in a similar way as such. So I think like don't just, I think a lot of people just do what they're comfortable with and kind of keep doing it, but it's like, I think the thing where we've had like with the whole positioning thing is like we're now having to do tactics that we're not like, for example, like for what we want to get in front of that really specific ideal customer, SEO is probably not the best bet. Paid ads probably isn't even the best bet. Probably going to be some very specific LinkedIn campaign or like demand generation campaign or thing like that, which we don't have any specific skill in. So I think like it's easy for us just to rest on our laurels and stay with the SEO side of things. So I think it's like not being afraid to like experiment and move away from what they're comfortable with, because like we're all experts in a specific channel and potentially a couple of others like surrounding it. But I think like not being afraid to like branch out a bit, and rather than just sticking with what you are very specifically kind of good at, I suppose.
So on a note with that, I don't know if there's going to annoy Phil or not, but screw it, we'll do it.
Piling in on you today, aren't we?
It's my panel, I can do what I want. How do you feel about people on LinkedIn? I don't think people shout about it as much anymore, but the odd few people do. About like going, oh, my profile is my landing page or is my website now, and they're not pushing them anywhere else. Like, how do you feel about that?
But I think that's fine, and it can work Like I think, but then again, like you would still have at least a link off to Calendly.
You'd think.
Like otherwise, like or some sort of kind of you must have like would you like I don't know the best like the best like best practices for like setting up a landing page, but I assume you would like at least put it to like some booking form, or something. So like,
I'm not saying everyone.
So
does.
like in a way, like I kind of get it. That's fine if you can say what like if you do one very specific and repeatedly, like I'm a ghostwriter for this specific type of person, and your page is like your case studies, or like you have some case studies on there, then fair enough. Whereas like I don't know if we'd be able to explain like our offering or kind of what we do on there, and the type of clients that we want to work with wouldn't look at the page and be like, whatever. Like I've signed up the other week for like an agency consultant/coach or whatever, no website, just looking at her page, sent me a couple of things. So I went through it on LinkedIn, so I'm open to it. It's not a thing, but like I wouldn't, if she was like, oh, there's an agency of 10 of us, and I'm like, okay, where's your website? Check out this stuff. And she's like, it's just my landing page. I'll be like, that's a bit dodgy. Or sends me a PDF. I'll be a bit like, okay, I think it just like, like for a certain stage, I think it works. Then at a certain point, it's kind of like, you just need it as a tick box. Like even if it's not fully invested in your website, like just have it there to like show, same with like a Google My Business profile for some cases as well. It's like that, just additional social proof.
Sweet. So, Phil, I'm going to ask you the same question, which was, what's the biggest mistake founders make when trying to market themselves and their business?
I did have an answer for this, but as I was on
my
way here,
that's fine. You'll
it kind
get
of
there.
slipped my mind. Biggest mistake, bit of a cop out, but it's the genuine truth is people just don't realize the value that they have. Like, so I'll give myself as an example. I work with clients day in, day out, building their personal brands, and I thought the best thing to do was, funny enough, just talk about, I guess, the challenges, but then also like case studies. But I've actually realized me just talking about my own personal self and my character and my personality actually brought me more clients than the more tactical, sharing what, Cristiano Ronaldo does for his personal brand and strategies behind that. Because in my world, it's pretty much relationships. And I was having a conversation with a friend before about this, how if results can sometimes be a bit like up and down and political in my space, I could have you go viral and you could actually bring in business, but because of the people I work with, if they don't like me, they'll drop me. So my world's a bit more focused on that personality side. So I guess to kind of bring that back to reality, if you don't focus on I've lost my train of thought now. yeah, your value essentially. If you don't just focus on your value, I think you'll struggle with that. And you've got to ask your customers, your potential customers, what that value is. Because sometimes you think it's one thing, and it'll actually be another. Kind of like me.
Sweet. Did I trigger you about the landing page profile thing, or was you all right with that?
Yeah.
You were trying to stoke up some beef.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, I want to fight. I'm like, you know what I mean?
Each other.
Was it a post about not having a website, or just that?
No, it's not done anything like that. I was just asking in general.
I think I have posted about that, to be fair, and I think.
Oops.
Respect. I've been running my agency for 3 years, and I still don't really have a proper website.
You have a website.
Do I? I have a domain.
That's what I mean. So if someone searched like your agency's name, like you would be on Google.
It'll go to my LinkedIn, to be honest with you. But it's because, again, my world is very much so. Who is going to be the person behind my personal brand? Doesn't matter if it's the agency names. It's still Phil.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why my website hasn't been that big of a deal. But I am working on it.
I've known you for like 3 years, mate. I think you've been working on it for 3 years.
Patience, you know. You gotta let it land.
Damn. Okay, so we'll go back to a question for everyone. So this one is like, I want to flip this a little bit, which is basically, we've been talking a lot about standing out. What's the number one reason most founders blend in? Or their businesses blend in? So, Phil, you have got the microphone. If you don't want to go first, I'm going to let you throw Fiona in the deep end if you need a second. It's up to you.
Say the question one more time.
So basically, what's the number one reason most founders blend in, and how can they avoid it?
I think by just saying the same rhetoric. I remember doing like a bit of a mini test with a few client posts, and we would cover the name and the profile picture of the post, and would try and guess who had written that post. And if you were struggling with that, it just showed that there isn't no uniqueness to the post. So I guess you can't blend in by not standing out. And then again, just not leaning into what only you can talk about. When I teach personal branding to like uni students and stuff, I always say what you should talk about is something you're good at, something you have a passion for, but then something you also have a lot of exposure to, and that's something you do on a day-to-day basis, whether it's like in their case it's their degree, but in our case it's our businesses, our roles. Talk about something you spend a lot of time doing. That helps you to not blend in per se. Yeah.
Do you think? Do you think people get stuck between how much then do I need to post about? Because people tell us that you need to post about the same thing, maybe in different versions several times, to then doing it to the point you're screaming into the void. Do you think people struggle with the difference between that? I can talk about one topic quite a bit, but then am I talking about it too much?
I guess it's like you said, it's the variations of talking about the same thing. I have been literally saying, post unique content, market yourself uniquely for 3 years, and it's somehow still landed each time. There are very small, sub topics within your space that you should probably lean into. I like to ground things in example. So I'll give that Jake guy again as an example. His key pillars is leadership, it's parenting, and it's mental resilience, as of now, all related to high performance. And leadership can be leading your family, leading your household, it could be leading your business, and then in his case it's leading his own life. There's multiple ways you can take that. So that one topic could be something you can perpetually talk about. So to can't stop yourself from blending in, just lean into one topic uniquely about things that you have that unique experience of. So Jake talks about leadership from lessons from guests on his podcast quite often. He's obviously got books as well, so then we'll do book quotes from on leadership as well. So it's the same topic, just different format.
Sweet. Fiona, it's up to you if you want to talk about this as a founder or as a business, as a brand. Like, what's the problem they do to blend in?
People blend in with generic motivational bullshit that's not, like you said, personal to them, or with generic, they say how to, or like how to set up a Facebook campaign, how to get more views on your TikTok. You need to flip it and say how we, like, put yourself as the expert, or your client or their business as the expert. Like, this is how the founder of X, turned around their gut health in 5 weeks, like a specific story, rather than these are 3 leadership tips from whatever book. Like, this is exactly how I transform my leadership style and improve productivity by X% in whatever weeks. Like, get really specific and use your own experience, because nobody else has those stories that you do. It's the 5 steps to whatever. Like, tell me what steps you did and the before and the after and that story, so I can follow it, and it's much easier to remember.
Do you see this a lot with, like, because like you say you work with some of the bigger brands, and I think we've all seen the odd bad campaign from a bigger brand, but I take it you see this a lot with some of them where you're like, come on, you're X brand, you need to stand out, man. Like, you're doing the same as them. Is it SEMrush? That's the most followed account on Instagram or something? I think it's SEMrush or HubSpot. But like, so they're doing something to stand out, for example. But do you see that a lot with the bigger brands as well?
Yeah. My friends run the SEMrush account. They're doing really well. It's very unhinged now.
I actually didn't know that. It's,
both.
there you go. Yeah, Matt uses this as an example quite a lot. But yeah, I take it. Yeah, you will see it a lot, won't you? Because that's why you've just done milk or cream all over your face, whatever it was. Like.
Yeah, that was for a coffee ad. But yeah, it's just something really, really specific and a story to you. Even if it's like you tie it in with a really stupid one-line story about spilling your lunch down yourself at work, but then the day got better because you realise you made someone 2 mil in the last couple of months or whatever. Like, just tie it in. Just the tiny little personal things. And that's what people remember. Even like leads that come to me weeks after a post, or someone came up to me at an event a few weeks ago, said, oh, that time you went to, they remembered like a really specific restaurant I went to with my mum like a year ago. It was bizarre, but
That's
people remember those personal stories, and then it's something for them to speak to you about, especially when we're in services.
That's weird.
Yeah, really weird.
Really weird.
Yeah, it wasn't Alan Pilkington either.
One of the things in Roundtable, we actually got Morgan Ratcliffe to do a webinar for us, and he said a really cool sentence, whether it was about lead magnets or anything. He said, try and title it along the lines of what your ideal client is complaining about to their partner when they walk through the door when they get home. And he's like, I hate that my business is doing this, or the team are like this. He's like, whatever that sentence is, if you can make that into something from that, you're literally they're going to see it the next day, hopefully. Like, oh my God, I was talking about that last night. And when they did that for us, I know a few people, I'm not going to name them, but they changed it. And I think a lot of them, they saw their subscribers go up to like the downloads and everything. It was great. So yeah, no, 100%. Don't do the 5-step. Whoever asked, you never went home and went, I need a playbook. Who went home, I need a content playbook. No one ever said that word when they walked through the door. Anyway, sorry, I went on a rant then. Steve.
Yep. So what is the main reason why kind of founders or businesses
blend in?
I just think lack of skill, to be honest. Like, if you think like not being around the bush, but like LinkedIn and copywriting is like it's a skill in itself. And I think a lot of people just go on there. Anyone can open a LinkedIn account. Anyone can jump on there. Anyone can post anything. Like, you can just chuck anything out. And I think like there's just a lack of skill, which means it's a creative, like, I think everyone thinks they can do copywriting, don't they? It's easy. Everyone's like, has written copy. They can do it. You don't need to be able to use Canva. You don't need to be able to arrange anything. To write a text post on LinkedIn, low barrier to entry, which I think that's the problem. It's like anyone can do it, which means everyone is doing it, and then loads of people are just not standing out. So I think like it takes a long time. You ask anyone in here who's got a big audience on LinkedIn, they've been doing it for a while, or they've previously been doing some sort of copy-related job or endeavor before that then they might have done like, English at uni, and they like enjoy writing and they know about it and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, it's like a skill like anything, isn't it? I think like founders are usually quite good at something, be that like they're very technical, so they're good and they'd be a freelancer, and it's hard to then take that and grow that and market a business. So I think there's that kind of spot before when a founder can't bring in external marketing resource to hire someone, they're kind of trying to figure it out themselves. They're trying to do all this stuff themselves, and it's like a hard thing to grasp. Like, I think that's probably been the most challenging thing within the business, is like getting new clients. It's like, and like not winning the clients, because like once they're in and I can speak to them and I can go run through the process, fully confident with that, happy with that. The hard part is like getting the leads, and I think like that's where a lot of people fall down. It's like it's just difficult. So
yeah, and I think you are right. Like, I'm crap at writing. The amount of times I've had Jack Frimston in my comments saying how I've made a sentence grammatically incorrect. I think one of them I said I shit on my clients or something. Don't know what happened, but Jack happily pointed it out. But no, you're right. Like, so many people do it, and I think there's no shame at all in admitting you're not good at it. That's why we outsource. It's why we work with experts. It's why we work with people like you guys. It's like, you can attempt it, but acknowledge if you're not good at it. Stop flogging a dead horse and work with someone like you guys. Like, and
you can still get better at it. Like,
100%.
I think the thing is like it's just practice, trying new things. But I think like you can't suddenly experiment and fully stand out until you've mastered like, okay, well, these certain things kind of work and these kind of rough things. I'm not saying like post loads of templates and stuff like that, but like once you know what kind of works, you know like the lay of land a little bit, like you can then start to kind of like experiment a bit.
100%. Johnny, need me to repeat it?
Being last in these things is terrible. Slightly spinning off Fiona's, because this made me think of a quote that I've heard recently that I think stands. It's that we've moved from a knowledge economy. We've moved from a knowledge economy to an experience economy. Because knowledge is so accessible. You can go on YouTube, you can go on AI, you can pretend to be someone you're not. Whereas, as Fiona said, sorry, we're not arguing, Callum. As Fiona said, it's your experiences that make your knowledge different. As someone said earlier as well, what you think you know is basic, whereas to someone else, that's like a masterclass. So yeah, just make sure you're telling stories of your experience. Why you, even on LinkedIn now, I have one paragraph on about 80% of posts about something that I've done or something that happened. And it's not always like massive effort. It's just, here's how this ties into me, and then everything else is kind of like my knowledge. But as long as you're backing yourself up with data, experience, then some people might try, but no one can really copy that.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm just letting you all know I'm getting to the last couple of questions. So if you do have any questions, bear them in mind, because I'm going to come to the audience soon. So elephant in the room, AI. We all about abandoned it up until about this point. I've got to ask it. I've got to. I'm going to start with you, not last this time, so you can't complain. AI is automating more marketing tasks than ever. I'm curious, how are you using AI in your business while making sure brand remains human and authentic? So are you using AI? If you're not, it's completely fine. But if you are, how are you also making sure you're still authentic and human for clients?
Sure. I mean, everyone here,
If all of you say no, I'm going to let Lewis say bullshit. Just letting you know.
But I'm not going to make assumptions. Like AI is an amazing tool, and everyone should be using it in certain ways in their business. If you feel it's removing a human element, that's maybe a potential issue that you need to reflect on and think, why do I feel that way? Or if you have taken it too far and you've removed yourself entirely from the process, then maybe it has gone too far. From a creative standpoint, I'm a solopreneur. I don't have anyone to really bounce ideas off, so it is nice to, as Phil said, he's got a team. He'll go and make himself a client of his agency. I don't have that luxury, so I make AI do it for me. I get it to ask me questions. It can get quite deep, by the way. People are like, there's evidence, not me, lonely people having conversations with their... But
You got this.
it's not therapy, right? But no, seriously, like if you ask it to ask questions, depending on how long you've been using certain AIs, you can be like, what do you think are my views on this? I think this. Ask me questions about certain things and give feedback. Honestly, for finding out, especially in the personal brand space, for getting you to think in ways that you're potentially very good at making your clients think or making others think, it does allow you to be reflective. As for systems and all that kind of thing, which is your area, not so much.
Fair. Steve?
Use Cal.
Yeah, we use it a lot. So especially for clients, and then I'll use it a little bit myself in terms of so in terms of the clients I suppose start with first, like we use it a lot during the research and the workshopping phases to just kind of go through if they've got a lot of information to kind of dive into. So one of them is like if we can get access to like sales team calls and stuff like that and kind of use it to kind of digest and kind of go through certain bits and pick out certain pain points from it. And then even from the proposals that we make, so we'll have the initial sales call, that's recorded. They'll send us sometimes a website brief or just a brief in general, put that in, and in our proposals, we have kind of like your current situation slide, like we have like the 5 challenges and the 5 kind of goals of the project. That just kind of spits it out now and does it all quickly. So again, it just helps kind of, that AI note taker or whatever, just is how we treat it really in the company is like an extra pair of eyes and an extra pair of ears. It doesn't replace absolutely everything. We're not just going to let it do something and send it off. Extra pair of eyes, extra pair of ears, and it's perfect for stuff like when we've done a proposal, they've got a brief, they've got the couple of calls we've had with them, put it all in. Can you make sure this proposal matches the brief? What do you think is missing? Is there anything in the deliverables that's not there? And it will always pick out 1 or 2 things. And you're like, okay, great, we would have missed that. And then we can add it in. So from our point of view, that's where we've used it the most, I would say.
Have you noticed it save time?
Yeah, 100%. Like, imagine like.
Do you know like roughly how much, and that's a
Well, I
ballpark
think not
figure?
even like I suppose yeah, a
Or
lot
does
of
it allow
time
you to,
'cause
sorry, or does it allow you to like reallocate the time to something else to do like another task kind of thing?
I just think more of like I'm not the best memory. I don't have the best memory sometimes of certain things. So I'll be like, oh, isn't that cool? Like they must have said this, and it'll be like another client. Whereas now I can just go into the note taker, and it's not really AI, I suppose, but it's like being able to have that transcript with and being able to search in it and say like, did they say this about this? And it's like, yes. So it just helps stuff that's not missed. It will definitely speed stuff up because it's like, we'll get it, like you said, we've fed in previous proposals we've written, we fed in previous content, we have it in the set folders within Claude and stuff like that, or in Gemini, and we can kind of like get it to be, it's good at producing stuff that, and you could always be like, dumb it down a bit, like, we're not very jargony and like, so it's like very like dumbed down on stuff, so that's the easiest to save all, so.
Love that.
I'm curious, just for clarification, because you said the human element, removing things from behind the scenes, that's not, when I think human element, I think the way you deal with a client.
Yeah, so it's up to it. So it's like Steve, for example, you just said, it'll do it, but like you still liaise with the client, you still do all that bit. I think so many people, especially with what I do and I see all the time, some people have tried to make it so lean or so automated or so much AI, they'll lose that bit. I was actually speaking to a client about this yesterday, and we've actually brought a step back into their process of doing something because they didn't want their client to be like, well, this is lazy. Why is this getting sent to me? It's like actually still, for them, just even sending an email with a link to the thing that they want them to do every single time. They keep that human touch. So it's like, what's it helped human-wise, or how are you being able to still say human whilst having AI in your business? So if it's saving you time, you still have them check client calls and things like that, 100%.
Yeah, it just slots into the process
Yeah,
that we
100%.
already had there, and they've always been documenting it, just like, okay, that will help take care of that part, rather than being like, oh, we're going to start posting on LinkedIn today. Like, it can write all my LinkedIn posts, like, that kind of thing. So I think that's where we tried to shy away from it a little bit. So
100%. So like for me with transcriptions, I actually take my transcriptions a lot of the time, or my VA does, and we put it into AI, and I'm like, what content ideas can you pull from this? Whether that's a blog, newsletter, LinkedIn post, anything. And then a lot of the time, genuinely don't get it to write the post. I used to try it. It didn't sound like me. A lot of people pulled me up on it. Very happy that they did. But I'll use it to pull content from them transcriptions, because also having ADHD, can't focus for shit. So it allows me to do that as well. So yeah, I do the exact same. What about you, Fiona? AI in the business, how do we use it?
My team are banned from using AI to create and write content.
God bless.
AI, it can't make me laugh. It's not fucking funny. Like, if I'm not howling whilst I'm editing a video, someone's not even going to watch it back and go, because it's so funny. Like, if we're not feeling something whilst we're creating it, someone's not going to feel something whilst they're reading it. Like, you can tell if someone's like out of ideas and they've sent me something to proof, and like I can tell if the Instagram captions ChatGPT, like it makes people lazy, because then if you don't have to use that part of your brain and think of those stories and think of how you're going to structure a sentence, how you're going to structure the post, even if it's like your ideas and your content, you say like reformat it in this way, like you get lazy and you lose that skill, and it would be really, really easy to overly rely on it. Yeah, we use AI in the business for like my calendar, or when we've written all the copy, and be like, right, can you now make it into like, make sure that it's all 70 characters or less, whatever, for Google Ads headlines, like just stuff like that speeds it up. But for actual writing content, no. Or even if it's like an article and I'm like, pull me out like the 5 key points and statistics and the links from it, but then go write the content, never copy and paste from ChatGPT or I don't shout at them, I'm just disappointed.
Have you ever tried using it and that's what made you make that decision, or did you say that from the offset that you didn't want to do it like that?
I know, I've given it a solid go. I hate everything about,
Sweet.
I've had a few goes, I've used the prompts of whatever, and I've never read it back and thought, I want to put that. I want people to think that that's what I sound like, or that's me, and no.
And it's easy to catch people out on it. The amount of times it's in American English, all you have to do is look for the Zs.
Just have an American person in the team, and then that's the
But
It's ruined the M dash though. I used that in copyright before, but now I freaking can't, because it looks like ChatGPT's done it.
Yeah, that's one of the other ones, Go on then, Phil, what about you?
So the question is, how am I using
How
AI?
people, using AI in your business.
So I'm probably going to... Have you guys seen that meme? I think it's from Shrek, where like someone's got like a really unpopular opinion. He's got like all the knives or swords to his neck. That's
Yeah.
going to be me today. I'm so bullish on AI to the point where we're developing a tool to essentially replace an agency at some point. We are the complete opposite. We want everyone using AI. We are so pro AI because I started my agency March 2022. GPT-3, which is the first viral one that went around, dropped in November 2022. So I had like 6 months of bliss. You can ask my accountant there. My business was booming. I was living life. I was enjoying it because of the fact that mere presence was enough at that point. It's kind of like try and keep it PC a bit. Like a fat person going to the gym, like just getting into the gym, wearing your shoes, like that's the first part. Then a bodybuilder is, it requires strategy. It requires a bit nuance. That's what GPT is kind of evolved into. So essentially, it's going to be a long answer, but I hope you guys can follow.
Not War and Peace. Come on, it's a bit succinct.
Okay. I was going to get deep into it. All right, let me just say this. AI is becoming more and more advanced. It's nowhere near its final form. And it's like a massive wave. Before it was a little puddle. Now it's a massive wave, soon to be a tsunami that's going to change every industry entirely. And as a personal branding agency, how do I navigate that concept of, AI and authenticity? And we're going through this process of trying to understand what is actually authentic about personal branding. There are so many ghostwriters, people that have agencies behind them, and I think there's that question of, is that still authentic? But then I have to bring myself back to history and look at presidential speeches and Martin Luther King and all these people had writers to help them write these iconic speeches. Would you class that as inauthentic? So that's just waffle to basically say like we're
You love it.
yeah, love it, man. Saves me so much time. We've had a client literally bring in, I think it's like a $200K deal off the back of a GPT. Well, it wasn't GPT, it was a custom AI tool wrote a post and generated £200,000 for a client. So what part in AI is authentic, which part of it's inauthentic? That's more the conversation rather than banning it.
All right,
Sorry.
sub-question to go with it. How are you going to make sure RSI still stays human then at least?
Say that one more time.
Like how are you going to make sure RSI, your agency, for future clients, if you're not, where is the human bit going to be, or is it not going to be there?
It's yet to be decided what will be human, what will not be human. But I think you'll be surprised. I'm going to share more about it once it's really solid. But my hypothesis that I'll share is I don't think much of what you think is human is really human. Tone of voice is a word everyone says, it needs to sound like me. But if you ask that person, what do they sound like? What's their tone of voice? They'll struggle to answer it. They just are very quick to see words or phrases that they won't use. So it's about just training this AI tool or whatever it is to understand what the person likes and what the person doesn't. And you'll be surprised it doesn't take long for it to nail your tone of voice, to get your authenticity. And you have to remember AI is smarter than, it has more memory context than us. I have the memory of a goldfish. So you can imagine if an AI tool has, years and years and years worth of information on you, it's crazy. I'll leave it as that. Yeah.
Okay, so any questions from the audience? Oh, straight away. Yeah, go on, my love. So do any of you use Sales Nav for your business?
Yes and no. I've got it. Half our clients have it, half of them don't. Doesn't make any significant difference in views, but you do get the custom button, and I have noticed an uplift in the amount of people actually booking since I have that. I tried a month off, it went slightly down, so yeah, in terms of the actual custom link, that's the only reason I pay for it.
Sweet. Steve?
Nothing else to add.
Oh, there we go. I've worked with a few clients, and I think once again, like anything, if you're going to use it, you need a strategy to go with it. Because it's complete, to my knowledge, anyone correct me, it's like a complete separate inbox as well. So you completely just need a strategy to go with it. I've never had it.
It's been good for curating a feed. I don't know if you can do that on the main feed, can you, or not? But because we use it a lot for like the outreach that we do, and it's quite good at building out those profiles for very specific companies that we want. Within that, because of the list we built out, I can just go on there, comment on those 5 people that have posted recently, go to the next list, comment down. So it's good for that. Like I don't know how much you pay a month for it, but yeah,
it's not cheap.
Is it not?
I pay £66, but then if I get like one client in 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. So, and the thing is as well, like imagine like me trying to remember, like, oh, was their name Tina or Tony? Like, you know, like trying to find this person, then going on the page and commenting. It's like all right in the middle. So yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Curate your home feed by unfollowing everyone that you don't want to see.
All right, that's my homework for tonight. Callum's gone.
Bastard. Yeah.
There's certain types of work you do that is effective, that hits all of your clients' expectations, makes you look really good as a business. There's certain types of work to misquote Callum's memory of the guy, you go home really excited to tell your partner who doesn't know anything about your industry, but you're really, really proud of that work. Two questions. Number one, how much overlap is there in those two Venn diagrams for your business? And are you doing anything to make those two the same thing?
So the two are the stuff that I actually get excited about and the stuff that brings results. Yeah, for me, it's when a client is willing to put himself out there on video. They get to a comfortable stage, they move beyond the problem solution stuff, because the whole thing about the Story Club is getting the right voices. Like, I hate Love Island people, can't stand it. It's just, I think the wrong values, morals, whatever, being put on a pedestal. And there's all these smart, super interesting people who are introverted or building cool stuff who are not putting themselves out there. And I'm quite fortunate. I've been doing this long enough that there's some people I get to go on a journey on. First, they start as basic, you know, the day they're a bit quiet, they're a bit shy, but by the end of the day, they've got confidence. They actually believe in themselves. I've got a client who genuinely has got amazing results, got amazing clients, and just doubts himself every second of the day that you let him. So that's like what brings me passion. And then when that video actually, say we film 16 videos, when they post 3, they've already made ROI back from a shoot day from me. That's like, obviously, you want more than just them getting money back from me. But I'm in the fortunate situation that I kind of get the best of both in those worlds. So I'm very lucky.
Anyone else got 50p?
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of like, as I was saying before, like having that just idea of like who your average customer is that's bringing in the money, the bread and butter kind of clients that we have and things like that, and then having that kind of ideal or dream customer that you want to be working more with and kind of moving more towards that. I think like that's been, something we've been trying to work hard on and kind of move more towards, and it's just a case of like figuring it out. And actually, like, it wasn't until a while ago we took a step back, kind of looked through all the finances and we're like, well, look, these are the certain clients that were bringing in certain revenue, but then also matching that with like, were they a dick? Like, you know, it's like those, because it's easy to be like, oh, like e-commerce is our highest like revenue generating part, but then it's like, it's a nightmare to work with, it's a nightmare to get more clients, it's saturated, stuff like this. But it's, and again, it could be different per industry and stuff. That was just an example, but I think just taking an actual step back and kind of like putting that element into it, not just fully just going for the numbers and kind of, you know, just focusing solely on that. So
Sweet. And Fiona?
We don't take on work or create content that we think is boring or just pays the bills. Like, if we're not, like I said, enjoying it, or the client's not enjoying the relationship, or we're just doing it to pay a bill. Like, there are much higher paying industries that we could be in. There's a marketer that said a few weeks ago that he's thinking of just putting his entire agency to doing Google ads for tiling companies, because it pays really well, and the competition, shockingly for other agencies doing tiling ads, is very low. But it's just boring. I mean, the most fun clients, the startups that have naff all budgets but we enjoy it loads, no, they don't. It doesn't pay half as well as the more stale companies. But some of the most unhinged content we create is for an HR company. So it's taking something on. If you can't market it passionately and you don't give a damn about it, it's not going to perform.
So,
it's hard as well, because it's like you could work with one company and then you get a new lead that's a very similar company makeup, and you start working with them and it's like shoot down every idea. It's like it's hard to find like these good customers to keep working with. I think that's been the most difficult part. Even if you niche down, it's like there's still idiots knocking about, I suppose.
personal microphone holder there. That was good.
Sorry.
No, it's my 50p on that as well is like, I've actually just got rid of a client because I'm not proud to say they're my client. I wasn't happy with the work they were delivering to their clients. I'm proud to say who I work with. I would like to talk about my clients and who they are. I worked with them for a while. We just weren't getting there, and I literally got rid of them. We're wrapping up in a couple of weeks, offboarding them casually, and it's because, measuring them 2 circles, I am proud to say who I work with. And when I know if I said their name to several people, they're like, ooh, really? because there wasn't like that when we started. And then actually bodies start coming out of the closet and everything else, and you find everything else. I was like, nah, not proud to call him a client. I think that helps merge the two as well.
I laid off a client who I didn't realise was like harassing one of my team members, like on a weekend, asking for content changes on her personal Instagram. Like they went the next day. Like people are really hard to come by, like good people, clients. There's shitloads of them out there. If they're not going to respect us as the experts that they brought in, or listen to what we're doing, or actually implement the strategies, what's the point? What they're paying for?
100%. So on that note, any further questions? We've got a bit of time here where we can mingle and hopefully you can harass these guys before they have to run off. I'll send you an email and everything afterwards, so you can also book your link, and also a video to this, because hopefully it'll go on YouTube. Hopefully, I'm looking at Sean in the back. Hopefully it'll go on YouTube. Other than that, before we give a round of applause, we are going to be doing drinks downstairs at Project Halcyon. It's like a secret little bar if you want to come. Just get your own thing. We've got a couple of tables. Other than that, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming on. And let you all mingle.